Hello everyone, welcome to Educanting. Today we are going to discuss about career in microbiology and higher studies abroad. And for that discussion, today we have with us Dr. Reetuparna Biswas. She is joining from Italy. So Reetuparna Di, welcome to our show.
Hi, Shubhajit. How are you? Thank you. Thank you so much.
So Reetuparna Di, to start the session, firstly I want to know about journey. Please share your journey with us.
Okay. So first of all, thanks for having me here today. I want to appreciate your effort to inform Indian students about their higher education abroad. To start with my academic journey, I did my undergrad in microbiology in West Bengal and then moved to KIIT Bhubaneswar for my master's in the same subject. While in the first year of my master's, I applied for a fellowship to pursue my 2 semesters in Europe. I joined Warsaw University of Life Sciences in Poland for my last 2 semesters, including the dissertation. Then, after my master's, I joined my PhD at the University of Verona in Italy. And my research topic is stem cell and regenerative medicine. While pursuing my PhD, I did my summer school at the University of Pisa in the heart of Italy. And I also worked as a visiting research scholar at Harvard Medical School in the United States for a few months. And now I work as a higher education abroad counselor, and I have a group of researchers in my team to guide students for their higher education abroad, like bachelor's, master's, PhD, etc. And I'm hopeful within a few days I'll be joining my postdoc as well. Yeah, so this was more or less
Oh,
my journey.
okay, great. So as you did just as you did MSc in microbiology and then you did specialization in regenerative medicine and stem cell culture. So on this point, I want to know from you two things like career in microbiology, give an overview on that. And after doing MSc in microbiology, what are the specialization one can do?
Right. So to answer your first question, a student can choose to join a company or PhD after his or her master's. So as we all know that recently we are expecting multiple viral outbreaks. So there are a lot of research labs and companies focusing more on microbial research. In companies, the research work is more translational and do not provide much scope for experiments. While in PhD, if the lab head is good, you can learn deeply and experiment more with your job. Uh, so PhD and company could be two career options for a student who has completed master's or bachelor's in microbiology. To answer your second question, microbiology itself is a specialized topic. In this course, you learn a lot of techniques that you need to learn, like molecular biology techniques, blah, blah, blah. However, unfortunately, in India, the universities do not pay attention to lab work or practicals. So the students are not familiar with the real research lab work until they join a PhD, and surely they can jump to another topic for their PhD. For example, I choose to work in regenerative medicine for my
Mhm.
PhD as I was more interested in the topic. And surely my background in microbiology helped me to conduct experiments, work with machines, etc. However, after the master's, one can choose biotechnology, biochemistry, biophysics, biomaterials, biostat, and immunology, to name a few topics, to specialize more for their PhD after pursuing degrees in college.
Okay, okay,
Yes,
great. Mhm. So there is lots of opportunity after doing MSc in
yes,
microbiology. That's
right,
it.
right.
So as you say, like one more thing I want to know from you, like as like why I should go for MS or higher studies in abroad. Like there are many high institute, many high rank institute in India like IIT, IIS and all this. So why abroad? And if I select for abroad, then what are the point I should keep in mind? What are the threshold point?
Right. It is true that in India we have IITs, ISERs, IIC like institutes, where the curriculum is great. However, there are several reasons one can consider abroad for their higher education. I'll name a few points like Education abroad is more application oriented. Um, so if you're passionate about doing or learning things deeply, like in research lab, they facilitate that process more. So after your masters, when you join, when you are an applicant of PhD, then the professor will ask you what are the skills that you have. And in India, we focus more on theoretical things rather than the practical things. That is a point that a student can consider, because as I mentioned, abroad they focus more on hand learning and more practicals. Secondly, if you have a good GPA and if you're passionate about your studies, you can avail scholarship of around 1 lakh to 3 lakh per month, which an Indian master student can never expect from India, right? Moreover, scholarship in India during the PhDs is irregular. So that is a point one can consider to pursuing PhD abroad, because it is regular, and obviously the amount is almost 5 times more. uh, During your studies abroad, you get to explore different summer training, you join conferences, international, and with this exposure, you meet many people and make connections. This helps a lot when you finish your degree. While in India, there is not much scope for networking or making connection with the world-class researchers. That could be also a point. And the fourth one and the last one that I want to mention, that surely IITs, IIScs do not offer a large capacity of to accommodate students. There are thousands of Indian students, those who are passionate about science or any other topics. So very few can enter the IITs. A lot of students are joining other institutes where the level of education is not that high. Students are going to classes and writing exams without much experience with different techniques, machines, or job opportunities. These are the points that I can mention to answer your question, that why one should consider studying abroad.
Right, and I also want to highlight your point you already mentioned. Like one is like exposure, the exposure, the freedom the student get, and the financial help that in India I also observe many few friends like who are lacking fund, who are not able to do research due to fund. So that flexibility we can get in abroad, and that application oriented research, that is also a great thing. Yeah.
Right.
So as you said, like abroad, in higher studies in abroad. So on that note, like in two phase, like I want to know from you. One is like highest for MS in higher in abroad and for PhD in abroad. And one more thing I want to know, like please tell us about you. You already mentioned earlier that your venture you are running right now, Fly High. So please mention about that also.
Right. So after finishing bachelor's in India, one student can opt for their master's abroad. Most of the countries offer masters student, international student, a little bit of scholarship to sustain their living costs and other things. However, you need to have a good GPA, and your curriculum vitae has to be very good. Otherwise, it could be a little difficult. So, opportunities for master students is that after, if they are not inclined to academia, after masters, they can pursue jobs in various companies. There are a lot of pharmaceutical companies or, technical companies like solar cells, these blah, blah, blah. They're really recruiting a high amount of master students, those who have the skills. So, a student can join companies. And opportunities for PhDs, there are multiple options. A PhD student, be it from India or outside, they can pursue research as a postdoc. That is an option. So there are two kind of postdocs. One is industrial, one is academic. So they can decide from academic or industrial postdoc. That is an option. Otherwise, a student after PhD can also continue in academia, like as a lecturer, as a guest lecturer or assistant professor. If he or she has a lot of publications and prior experience to teaching, so a lot of universities, good universities, recruit them as a lecturer or assistant professor. So these are the options after PhD you can do, be it abroad or in India. And there are a lot of companies those who will recruit PhD students as a scientist designation, um, to monitor projects or quality control and these things. So these are the options in general a master's and PhD student can do after their studies is finished. um, and for to describe about my team, my Fly High, my venture. So I started these before 2 years with some of my researcher friends. What we do is we guide A to Z of the application system for Indian students, because while growing up, we did not get many great seniors or advisors how to apply abroad, where should I apply, what are the documents needed, regarding the fees, scholarship, living costs, blah blah blah. So we decided to do this thing with our friends, a lot of PhDs and postdoc, those who are abroad already. We guide our students with CV, cover letter, and preparation, and all the documents needed for their application. Also, we guide for the interview session, we guide for the visa application process. So in a nutshell, from preparation to the documents to the visa process, we guide our students with every information they need.
Yes.
And I'm happy to share that a lot of our students already started their educational career abroad. And until now, we have guided almost 300 students in these 2 years for their application abroad.
Yes, yes, yes. And you are doing a very good job. Like to get a good guidance, proper guidance is also a difficult thing because there are lots of
Right.
opportunity, but we don't know many of them. So that is the point. So here, if I get a guide, that would be very helpful. Itupanandi, on that continuation of that point, you are just mentioning like there are lots of things, lots of steps when I am going to abroad. I am applying for a PhD. So can you give a little view like what are the point we should keep in mind? What should be our checkbox we should keep in mind when I am applying for PhD?
Yes. So I think a student should start very early, like during their bachelor's or the last year of bachelor's, or at least the first year of master's, because there are a lot of things to consider, to keep in mind while applying abroad. First, one need to be familiar with the kind of documents needed for their study abroad journey, like passport, proper degree certificates, apostillation, that is a process, reference letters. These are the documents that they need to apply while applying abroad. Also, the English test, it is important to have the IELTS or TOEFL like English test. So a student should prepare for that as well. One also need to look for the opportunities that the specific country or the course is offering. So after you finish your application, it's necessary for you to look for the opportunities. What will I get from doing this course or studying this? It is important to check the deadlines. So I guide my students that I already shared the deadlines with them with help of Fly High. However, if a student is preparing by herself or himself, they should keep note of the deadlines, because most of the time, because we're applying to a lot of positions or lot of courses, the deadlines may be missed. You must not do that. The student is getting out of her or his comfort zone, right? So he needs to be courageous and familiar with the process of staying abroad, facing daily life difficulties, expenses, etc. And my team, Fly High, we create a WhatsApp group for the students to get in touch anytime they need any information regarding their application. So they feel like there is someone who can help out them in advanced situations. That is how we try to help our students. And you need to have good grades, but that is not the sole parameter that you will be considered. There are a lot of other things, other curriculum, like if you are heading something, some program, or leading something. So these things are also considered while seeing your CV, not just your grades. So these are the things one should keep in mind during their studies, if they wish to apply abroad for their higher education.
Great, great. And friends, I will add the fly high the profile the link in my description box also so you can check that also. So, Ritu, just you just mentioned like the GPA is not only the sole parameter. So, on that point of view, we have some myths or we have some thought like going abroad means you need to be very high, very good in education. You need to be very smart. You need to be very good in English and all that. So, on that point of view, what is your thought on that?
It is true that you need to speak, listen, and understand English very well. And the students must take the IELTS, TOEFL like tests. However, there are some ways that one can waive off their these tests because the exam fee is really high. It's like around 15,000 Indian rupees. Around for most of the students, it is not possible for to take the test. So in Fly High, we discuss how they can avoid the test and still be eligible for their application. So there is a trick that also I applied during my application. I also advise my students for this. There is a little trick, but you need to join Fly High to discuss more on this. It is not always essential or mandatory to take the test. Coming to the financial point, it is true that abroad education is costly. So there are a few things I can add here. Some banks are offering a student loan which is easy to avail, and for most of the PhD program, the position comes with a high paid scholarship, which is sufficient for the student to study there, maintaining their other living cost and save money. While good grades in your school and colleges can help you getting selected, it is not always the sole reason of your selection. The universities look for other activities while selecting the student, which we deeply discuss in Fly High. That what are the things that you should continue or pursue for that. Like there are some courses online that you can take free of cost. You can add that in your CV. You have to show the university that you're interested pursuing that topic or pursuing research in that topic, so the university feel like this student is coming on not only for the financial help, but also she or he is into deep science. She wants or he wants to learn things in reality. So you have to make your CV very like a great CV so that it distinguish you from other applicants. And yeah, and next step, because the financial part I mention most of the time, because it is not uh, doable for every family to support their the fellow for higher education abroad. So we guide our students for the scholarships, which is very important to stay there. So yeah, these are the things that I
Got
wanted
it.
to mention. So yeah, you will get financial help from the university if you have a good CV, and if you can perform good in your interview. There will be interview session as well. From most of the courses, they'll ask you to join interview courses, so you have to show confidence. You have to be clear why you want to pursue that course or that research. So these are the points you can consider or keep in mind.
Okay. Okay. We got a very fair idea, very good idea about that microbiology and higher studies in abroad. So thanks for that. And now I want to ask some other question about other topic. Like first, I want to know that in your long education journey, you spent many years in India and then Italy. So I want to get a comparative view between between the education system of India and Italy. Where are we good at, and where we can implement that, where we can improve on. More.
Yes, so I'd like to answer your question in a few parts. So in India, the availability of information to the student uh, regarding job or regarding other career after they pursue that specific degree is not clear or is not much available. The universities keep the students updated on various things abroad, like access to different journals, opportunities after their degree. This is a key point that our Indian education system is lacking. They just come to the class, they take the exam and have their marks and do things on their own, right? Secondly, the scholarship. In India, it is very difficult to avail a scholarship. Even if he or she is getting some scholarship, it's very less in amount. And abroad, the package is at least 5 to 6 times higher. So this is a thing India should be concerned about, because recently Indian government, they have stopped a lot of scholarships, unfortunately. That is a major drawback of Indian education system, while other countries are offering high scholarship. So students are getting more attracted to those countries, rather staying back in India. Then the practical real world learning is less in India, as I have observed two education systems very carefully, very closely. While application oriented studies are uplifted abroad, here in India, you only read the theories, and you get out of your comfort zone while you're applying abroad or studying abroad, right? In India, you are staying in your comfort zone. So you need to challenge yourself and limit to your, do not limit your uh, whatever you can do in life. So if you're studying abroad or going abroad, you are getting out of your comfort zone, and you get to meet new people from different nations, making professional bonds, and surely you get to travel and explore a lot. So that is a key point. In India, it may not be possible for to if you're, for example, if you're pursuing a master's or PhD abroad, you have to go through a lot of process to avail very little amount of fund for your traveling to other conferences in different countries. While abroad, they appreciate this kind of effort, and they spend a lot of money on that. So you get to travel to different countries for seminars, for conferences, and make connection to new people. So after you finish your degree, your PhD, you already have some sort of idea in which lab, in which country you want to pursue your next step of academia or other things. So India is lacking these key points that other countries are offering. So if I'm a student and I'm getting these facilities somewhere else, why should I stay back in India? Because after you finish your studies in India, the salary packages are not that high as well. And you are unaware about the packages that you could get if you studied abroad, right? So yeah, this is a sort of comparison of the two education systems.
Yes, I am also completely agreed with you. Agree, one thing you have mentioned, that practical application, like what I am doing, like in India, in many institutes, I saw that some people are reading in an institute for up to MSc. Now, up to MSc, they don't have any scope to travel another institute or make some networking thing. Only some PhD student who are for conference purpose they are going, but most of things are on a theoretical basis. We are not too much interested to apply them in practical world and get some money or get some experience out of it. That we should improve on that. Yeah, thank you, great point, very good point. And lastly, I want to know on that from you, like mental health for students, mainly for the PhD student continuing 5 year of study, mainly for the PhD student, staying healthy mentally is a very important thing. So on that point of view, and you also face, I'm sure you've also faced many challenges. So on you, from your experience, how one should tackle that thing?
Right. um I would like to dedicate my talk more with the students with a science background, as I think I can connect with them more. So, pursuing a master's or PhD in any of the natural sciences is not easy. It's true. Often there can be mental breakdown, or during failed experiments due to some issues in lab with your professor. There could be issues that hampers your mental stability. One of the major issues that I have faced, and a lot of other students are talking about, that they cannot cope with the lab supervisor, because supervisors are usually not that supportive. There are few supportive supervisors, those who want to uplift you with your career, and but most of them are not. As a result, a lot of students commit suicide. In recent days, we have seen in India a lot of suicide cases. I'm not sure about the exact reasons, but I think somewhere, if the supervisor, or if the lab people are more humble and more frank to the students, it could work great. So it is important to keep your mental health good during your especially for your PhD, because you're working, I don't know, 10 to 12 hours a day. Um, I would like to give you a simple example of my academia. When I was at Harvard, I used to come back at 1 or 2 a.m. at night. Like, I was really working over like 12 hours or 14 hours a day. And but at Harvard, the people are really helpful. Even if you're facing some problems, basic problems, they come to help you with all sort of needs. But in India, I have seen, if you don't know, for example, if you have done some experiments in chemistry, and if you forgot that and you're asking someone, so people will bully you. So how come you're here? How come you're in IIT if you don't know these basic things? These are the bullies that we face in India. So it is important to keep that in mind, that you have to be stable. And for that, I did a little trick. So I like to visit a lot of countries in my weekends. So that kept me in good condition, because I used to meet new people from new countries. Yes, had also some issues with my supervisor, but not that which can hamper a medical health, your mental health, or something like that. So you should remember, this is a phase of your life. This is a 4 to 5 years maximum. It will pass, and you will be in a new field with new people after a very short period of time. So try to focus more on the things that drive you for your science. Read more papers, I mean journal papers, and try to be with people, those who are more polite, more humble, more supportive. That is one thing I can advise students for their PhDs.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Like very, very insightful and very good thoughts, very good points you have shared. Thanks for that. So finally,
Yes.
to wrap the session, yeah, I want to hear from you the final tips for the students who are preparing for, who are want to pursue their career in abroad for them.
Right. So to the Indian students, I'd like to say that you should actively think about studying abroad for your career growth. Me and my team Fly High try to help our students with all the information needed before they depart India. So students interested are welcome to be in touch, and we will be happy to guide you in each step. Going abroad for your master's, PhD, postdoc gives you a wing to explore your subject more. So give it a shot. It will not only boost your financial growth, but the people, the scientists you connect, the conferences you attend will boost your confidence, and you can reach heights in your respective areas. So yeah, focus on your studies, but don't be afraid that if I'm having low grade in a semester, I cannot apply abroad at all. This is not the case. If you have some good grades, or you may not have good grades, you can still try to write or publish some papers, some reviews, some articles which add a great value to your CV, so you can concentrate on that. And get familiar with the know-how. What are the documents needed? So when the deadline is there, you have already all the documents, like you have your reference letters from your teachers or professors in hand, so that you don't have to rush to them and take another 2 or 3 weeks just to manage the letters from them. So keep things ready before your application. It is not that tough. A lot of students are going abroad every year for their higher education, masters, PhD, bachelors, postdocs. So you are also welcome to apply. And if you need help, we are there to guide you. And all the best to the students.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Reetuparna. Thanks for your time, managing time from Italy. So thanks for that. Thank you. It's a great session. I think it will be very helpful for the students. So thanks a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for arranging this as well. Thank you, Sri.